Hello and welcome to Two Witches Talking. I am Cheyenne and I am here today with the lovely Delilah. Today we will be discussing the week of August 23rd. We have the big North Node lunar eclipse this week in Pisces. That is the star of the show. We will be talking about the rest of the week, but understand it's all a run up to that. So we are also going to pull across to draw out the flavor of the week. And Delilah, why don't you get us started on Tuesday? That's the first big
Tuesday.
astrology day we have. Yes. I'm going to be pulling that
Sure.
cross while we work on that.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, so for Tuesday, well, this whole week and pretty much until September the 10th, we have Mercury in Virgo. So Mercury is in its home planet where it's the most comfortable. So you're going to have the maximum amount of strength, clarity, and precision from this planet. Mercury rules over anything to do with communication, intellect, and precision. So that's going to assist us to make this transition throughout this entire eclipse. And it's going to be there until September the 10th. And so that is in the background of everything running, just understand. So for Tuesday, we also have Mercury conjoining the South Node. So this is a good time to kind of get rid of any narratives that you may have that kind of rain on your parade, make you feel down. Try not to be overly obsessive about overthinking things or criticizing yourself. And also, instead of minimizing when you're doing well, when you're making accomplishments, actually address those, actually celebrate those wins, and just understand that slowly, bit by bit, the habits that we do today are going to be able to impact our future. So that's Mercury conjoining the South Node also on Tuesday.
No, I was going to say Mercury, this is part of the eclipse setup. Okay. So Pisces is where we're going to have this eclipse. Virgo is its sister sign. The sister signs are opposite to each other. So when we look at at the zodiac, at the wheel, it's a big circle. Pisces is over here. Virgo is over there. You guys can see where my cat got a hold of me this morning. So Pisces and Virgo, they're sitting across from each other. This eclipse is going to happen over here in Pisces. And over here in Virgo, we have the sun and Mercury setting up shop. Okay. We know that we just talked about Virgo being a really good sign for Mercury. Mercury is our planet of communications. It's our mental faculties. It's also magic if you practice magic. When it goes into Virgo where it is exalted, it's very, very happy there. It's doing its job to the best of its ability, just like Delilah just said. So whatever this is going on over here, we're going to be able to verbalize it. Mercury and the sun are seeing this eclipse square on. It's sitting right in front of them. They can't miss it. So whatever this eclipse is, whatever is coming out of hiding, we are shining the light of the sun right on it, and we are opening our mouths with Mercury and just talking about it. Talking. So this is a point of healing. Pisces is often like a very private house, but we're going to be discussing those private type of Pisces themes in the coming days.
It's a partial.
Okay.
But actually, Friday is when our full lunar eclipse in Pisces happens to be. So, just like what Cheyenne was mentioning, it's going to help to reveal a lot of hidden themes, a lot of secrets that may surface, illusions that may shatter because the sun is shining right on it from Virgo. So, we're going to be able to verbalize these things. And this Pisces is activated in the 12th house, and that's where we're going to have all of that like hidden knowledge, hidden information. It's a good time not to suppress your intuition, trust your gut around this time, because
Yes.
those hidden things, I mean, initially you may wonder, hey, is this really true? But the thing is that this is when things are coming out. This is when secrets are being revealed. So just really trust your intuition about things. Give yourself a 48 hour before making major earth shattering decisions. Just give yourself a little bit of time before you make any huge decisions this Friday during that eclipse in Pisces. And then what else can I tell you guys about this?
Let me
There
look at
can
the
be some,
timing. Say what you
sure,
said.
there can be some high emotional intensity during this time because it is an
This just
eclipse
flew
and
out of the
these
deck.
can
I'm
be
going to
quite,
tell you that
this,
right
yeah.
now. This is the Three of Swords, guys. This is what's on the bottom. This is not great, but like I said, it's whatever healing work we're doing. See how We're stitching this back up together, even though it's really ugly. This is the work. This is
This
a
isn't.
lunar eclipse in Pisces.
This is
Welcome to the
necessary,
astrology.
but
Okay.
maybe uncomfortable
Yes,
emotionally.
exactly.
Yeah.
Uncomfortable and
So
necessary. When we were
very
doing
uncomfortable.
our lead up chats, I described this process to Delilah as being like constipated for a really long time and finally going to the bathroom. Like Pisces, the 12th house, Pisces traditionally rules the 12th house. That's like a house of private themes and darkness. So this is like a release that needs to happen in private, kind of. But after it's, even though it's probably not going to feel great, it's going to make room. Okay. We're going to feel better after this is over. I did want to talk
Exactly.
about the timing of this because Thursday, the moon enters Pisces, getting ready to be eclipsed. That happens at like 3 in the afternoon Eastern time, right after lunch, like 1:15. The sun and Mercury are cazimi. That means, so we talked earlier about how the sun and Mercury were going to be in the same sign. They're actually going to be touching each other. This is like a very powerful moment for Mercury. It when Mercury is inside like the heart of the sun in the sky, we get clarity. We can call it downloads, like anything, any kind of intuitive messaging. If you're the kind of person that receives that, if you feel that you communicate directly with spirit, you're going to want to pay attention to that, because this is a powerful time for our communications. And then, like I said, that happens right after lunch. The eclipse actually happens overnight. It happens like right after midnight on Thursday night, Friday morning. And then after that, between 3 and 4 a.m., Mercury squares Uranus, and between 6 and 7 p.m. that day, so most of us will be awake for that, the sun squares Uranus. Uranus is the planet of chaos, okay? But it is also the planet of liberation. It is here to break some things and free us in the process. So, whatever this difficulty is, whatever this eclipse is showing us, it's tough. That's Uranus. That's difficult things, chaos, unpleasantness sometimes, but it's also breaking some chains. It's not for nothing. This is light and freedom at the end of it. And I want to remind everyone, this card is on the bottom. This is something we're already sitting in. It's not new. All right.
Yeah.
Have we covered the astrology? Is there anything left?
That's pretty good. As I was looking over this, I was looking at the astrology for this week. For me, what keeps like sticking out to me,
Mm-hmm.
like it's almost like it's being highlighted and it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
popping out at me. Secrets may surface and illusions shattered. I'm getting the feelings like something coming out similar to, those files that have been coming
Yep.
out from that Epstein
Mm-hmm.
guy. Like
Yeah.
those are the kind of feelings I'm getting. So around Thursday, Friday, information is going to be coming out. It can be quite disturbing, and it is from a very hidden place. Maybe
Yep.
information has been suppressed, but it's coming out, and you guys just need to sit tuned for that. And as a collective, we need to pay attention to things and not doubt ourselves when we have these intuitions, because this
Pisces, yes.
information is very much upon us very soon.
Pisces is intuition heavy. That is, like I said, the 12th house is often the house of spirituality in a lot of ways. So be listening to that inner voice. Where we talked before about Mercury and the sun coming together, that's that inner voice. That's that inner voice. Be listening. Do not silence yourself. If you feel like something has been called to your attention for a reason, you follow up on it. Don't just leave it alone.
All right, Cheyenne, what did you pull for our cross for today?
Okay, so our Chani card is this. I love this for us.
That's
So
us, the
Vlad is
tiger.
my cat. He's orange. I love this tiger. I always relate this back to the Ace of Cups, which at the end of the day is a card about self-love. Okay, it's a card about the love of the divine. This is like the essence of love, the stuff that, think about it as like spiritual sustenance, right? This is like the current that runs through everything that we are always tapped into if we choose to remember. So we're going to be leaning heavily on this week, I believe. I also want to remind everyone, us included, this is happening next week, but Tuesday next week, we have Mars square Saturn. That's the planets of war and restriction coming, making a tense aspect with each other. Squares are like sticky and crunchy. So I'm not saying it's going to be unpleasant. I am saying it might show us some tension, some difficult realities that we may not necessarily want to face, which goes right in line with everything we just talked about with this eclipse. Just know that this might linger. It might stretch out into next week some because of that transit. And again, because we have this, just keep this fresh. Just remember, this is what it's all about. We're going to love ourselves and each other through this wherever we can. For the cross, our card at the middle is the Knight of Swords. Okay. A lot of the time, this one represents drama, sudden change especially. But it's also taking off in the direction of something that you want, something that you're passionate about. So seems like for right now, we have swords as a big theme here. I want to remind everyone that Uranus is in Gemini right now, and that's an air sign. And what we are crossed by is the Knight of Pentacles. This is slow and steady growth. It's the one thing at a time kind of situation. If you want to lose 100 pounds, you have to lose 10 pounds first. And you don't, if you're in a situation where you need to lose 100 pounds, you don't want to think about that. And I'm saying this as someone who's done it. You don't want to think about, like, oh, if I want to lose weight, I have to change all these things and take all these little bitty steps. It's overwhelming if you look at it that way. But if you look at it as like, you wake up every morning, you go to sleep every night, it's just part of it. This is part of the grind. One step at a time, we're moving forward. So this is that passionate sudden change crossed over by, I have like stuff that I need to do to make that happen. Underneath, we already have this. We knew about that. So that's frustration and difficulty. On the top, as what we're looking at, we have the Strength card. Remember where we were just talking about how Mercury in Virgo, Mercury is going to conjunct the South Node before it goes into Virgo. And that's asking us to reframe the way that we talk to and maybe about ourselves. That's this. That's inner strength. That is remembering that you are the observer, not the thought. And when you hear that really mean, nasty little thought saying something nasty about, oh, you're not good enough, you never will be, you don't deserve that, you can turn around and look at that and say, hey, I know you and you're not me. You can just stop talking and go away. Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah. We all have that in us.
We can choose not
Again,
to listen to it, and we can
exactly.
choose to tell it to go away.
It's this
Or
right
give
here.
it an annoying nickname and just say, Steve
Yeah.
is being rude every time.
Get out of here, Steve.
Yeah, just give that annoying voice a name like Steve
Amen.
and just ignore Steve.
Yes. No, Steve, we don't need this. Ooh.
Sorry to any Steves out there.
Exactly. Sorry, Steve. I don't think either one of us really knows a Steve, do we? Well, maybe you do. No. No, Steve. This is the Emperor. This is the energy from our past. This can be setting boundaries. I would not be surprised if it's that, given this eclipse material that we're going to be working with. The Emperor is typically like a businessman, someone like organizing their resources or the way that those resources are distributed. So, like I said, a lot of the time he represents boundaries, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if we're revisiting maybe some of the reasons those boundaries needed to be set in the first place. Up here, this was on the bottom of the deck. This is the Ace of Swords. This is a new way of thinking. It can also represent victory. So I would say that it's a little bit of both of those given the context. I would say this is a new way of thinking, literally, and it's also a victory in that this is an opportunity to have a victory over that inner darkness that we all have. We all have to face dark thoughts sometimes. And that's just part of it. That's part of the human journey. For the future, we have the 10 of Wands. Not necessarily inspiring because you can see this is like someone carrying a burden. The 10 of Wands often represents feeling overburdened in general. And I think with this kind of astrology, it's telling us to recognize that you feel overwhelmed and overburdened and that you might feel alone carrying all that. The whole idea behind this card is that there is help. We can set some of the sticks that we're carrying down. We can ask a friend to help us carry them. The idea is you're not that far away from your destination. You'll get a chance to set them down soon. But if we don't recognize that we're overburdened, sometimes we can just keep carrying that burden around without doing anything about it. So, this is the time to fully recognize, hey, there's some stuff here that I need to let go of and put down. And it looks like a cultural, like I said, this is a collective reading. So, like Delilah was talking about with certain files coming out, certain information coming out, I wouldn't be surprised if this is like a group release saying, oh, yeah, we've been needing to deal with that for a while. I guess now we really have to.
Exactly.
All right. I like this for our advice card this week. We have the Ace of Wands. One of the things that I love about this card, this is the Light Seers deck. It's kind of based on the Rider-Waite deck, which is what I have been using up till now if you've been watching. It's a little bit different of an art style though. And one of the things this artist did really intentionally with this card is she drew from a story from Indian mythology. It's called Indra's Net. And that is what's in her hair here. The Ace of Wands in her hair, you can see all these jewels and all these beads. And it's meant to represent Indra's net. Indra's net is, like I said, it's an idea from Indian mythology. I don't want to call it mythology, but I will for now. Where each jewel in that net reflects all of the other jewels. These are points of connection. And the idea is that all of us as embodied souls or as souls are jewels in this net, and we are all constantly reflecting one another. And so the idea, new connections, new ideas, these new things that we're doing, we're going to need each other for them. This is not just a solo activity, even though a lot of this Pisces eclipse stuff may be related to things that happen to us in darkness, in silence, in private, away from other people. But it is our connection to others and the bringing information to light that is going to bring us back to that connection and to each other. And that's how we heal. We drag that nastiness out into the light and we all look at it. And if it's mentionable, it's manageable. That's Mr. Rogers. That's Healing 101. We're going to drag it out into the light and look at it and fix it if we can. And here for surrounding circumstances, this is a Three of Wands. This is growth and expansion, but it's also waiting on something. It can be waiting. It's like, see how she's looking for this next wave to come in? It's like we're waiting on something that hasn't happened yet, but it's coming. And then for the hopes and fears card, we got the Eight of Cups. That's change. It's especially leaving something behind. It can also represent abandonment. Nobody wants to feel like they're abandoning something or someone or like that's happening to them. I feel like in context here, that can be feeling fearful of setting down a burden or letting something go. Like, think about that mindset. Like, if I'm not a victim of what happened to me, then who am I even? And I know not everyone can relate to that. That's just like an idea I think a lot of us have seen in media or encountered before, so we can kind of relate to it. Change can be hard and scary. It can. And if you're someone who's used to carrying a heavy burden and that's just like become part of your identity, setting that down can be really scary. But if you don't put it down, you can't heal. And this is about healing. Our outcome here is the Two of Swords. It's interesting to me, this card comes right before this one. And this is a card about indecision. It's like confusion and difficulty and feeling stuck and not wanting to move. And given that this week closes up with an eclipse and then next week kind of starts with that Mars Saturn square, we very much can feel like stuck. Like we want to heal, we want to put down this darkness, but because of that Saturn influence, maybe we're being restricted or impeded somehow. I'm going to go back to this.
I'm wondering if some of these restrictions that we feel like we have might be mental. Maybe they're limiting beliefs.
Amen. Amen.
Maybe it's things that we told ourselves. that we couldn't do, or maybe we were told that we weren't allowed to do.
Mm-hmm.
So some of these are self-imposed. Some of these were things we were told maybe when we were very young.
Yes.
But it's important that we're aware of what it is that we feel like is restricting us, so that we can get
Exactly.
rid of these restrictions and live the kind of life that we want to live.
Amen. That's these two together. This is taming that nasty inner voice and bringing it to light and making those connections with people. A lot of the time, if you're the kind of person, and I'm saying that, I'm talking to myself here, if you're the kind of person who is constantly down on yourself or saying mean things to yourself and believing them, that's not going to make you want to connect with other people, because you feel like you don't deserve it, right? Even if you don't feel that way, I think you've probably met people who do and been able to see that in them. It's not a comfortable or healthy place to be. And again, you have to set that burden down to be able to connect with the people who can help you heal. If you don't tell your doctor what's wrong, how is he going to help you fix it?
Exactly. Okay, let me pull a Cheney card for you guys.
Yeah.
Just for this week, because that's some heavy stuff and this is real.
Very.
Okay.
Yeah.
Especially when you were dealing with stuff that's hidden. Some of that stuff hiding in the shadows, it's like, what was that?
I
Okay.
want to recommend as well that we pay attention to our dreams this week, because with that Mercury Cazimi and all of this happening in Pisces, Pisces is like a house of dreams. Let's see. I worship
The card I
the
pulled.
altars. Ooh, of all that keeps me honest.
Have you ever heard
Go ahead and twist
the
that knife,
terms,
Delilah.
the truth will set you free?
Oh,
I feel like,
but first
honestly,
it
a
will piss
lot.
you off.
Yeah, it might piss you off
Yeah.
at first. It might scare the crap out of you. But if we're honest with ourselves, we're open and honest with ourselves, it's going to allow us to free ourselves from limiting beliefs. It's going to allow ourselves to free ourselves of mean things that we say to ourselves, or even things that are mean that have been said to us. If we're truthful and honest and we approach things with love, yes, I love this card,
Love.
then I feel like we're going to be in a better place at the end of this week.
Amen.
It might be a little bit, it might get a little worse before it gets better. Just like how if you get a
Yep.
cut on your hand, it's going to scab over and it's going to look kind of scary for a few days. But at the end of that, it's going to heal.
Yeah.
And you're going to be better for it.
Yeah.
Broken bones are stronger.
Amen.
Afterwards. But they do hurt.
Yeah.
In the beginning when they break. So with that, I have a question for our audience. What are some things that you're considering letting go of? And also, what are some ways that you feel like you could be kinder to yourselves? What are some things you've maybe been telling yourselves that aren't very nice? Or what are some things that have been said to you that aren't very kind? Leave it in our comments and we'll be sure to reach out to you and respond. Until next time, we'll see you next week.
Thank you for joining Two Witches Talking.